Alright, so it's been a few days since I made a video, so I wanted to jump on real quick. My hair's a mess today. But, so basically, what I wanted to talk about is labels. All of humanity is divided by labels, and that's where they created the separation complex. And this can be as simply explained as, let's look at the gay community. People identify as being gay instead of being human. Okay, so I'm gay, or I'm a lesbian, or I'm a gay guy. Instead of just saying, I'm a human, your preferences are simply that, what you prefer to do in your free time when you have a synergistic energy exchange, whether that be with a man or a woman. But that's not the only label. We label ourselves in every form of life. I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, pro-abortion, non-abortion, this and that. All these labels are meant to divide us and erode the oneness of humanity. Drop every label you have in life and call yourself a human being. And all the wars, all the fighting, and all the bullshit will stop in the moment that you drop your labels that you identify with and they say, I am a human. There's no such thing as what the label represents. Even gay, the word gay means happy in proper English. Fag means cigarette. Stop identifying with things that doesn't matter at the end of the day. God, you think God cares what you do for synergistic energy exchange, whether you sleep with men or women? I don't give a fuck what you do. As long as you don't rape a child or do something that violates the laws of free will that govern the entire universe. And it's the same as Republican and Democrat. These are things that divide you, that split you, so that you fight amongst each other and can be ruled and conquered over and lorded over. You're not realizing we are all human beings. And if we all drop everything else and say we are human, everything ceases instantly. All the bullshit on this planet stops and we become unified as human beings through the human spirit, human ingenuity. We can all be quirky and you can have individual expressionalism, individual expression, or individuated points of consciousness on the level of what you prefer as your lifestyle choices, from anything from politics to whatever. But the moment that it becomes an expressive outward thing, it divides you from everybody else. So the moment we say we are human beings, why is it whenever it's political campaign time, all the ads, and I'm actually impressed with the town council this year. They're not throwing slam campaigns. They're actually running a real political election in the town of Narragansett. From what I can see, the ads I've seen were tasteful. And I've been yelling this every election season. It turns my stomach when all you see on TV is who's the bigger pile of shit that we're electing to rule over us. When you throw rocks, that doesn't, I want to know, I don't give a fuck, Republican, I'm registered independent. I'm not going to play into your left and right, divide and conquer. I want to hear from political people, politicians, what you're going to do for the country. I don't give a fuck what the other asshole has done or did. We all have lived a life. Every one of us here has lived a life and sometimes made choices. And oftentimes that were people beaming radio signals at you, making you do things that you wouldn't normally do. So I don't really give a fuck about what you've done in the past. Because once we become aware of what's going on, we wake up to it and can control ourselves much better. But the principle I'm trying to make is ad campaign time should be about what you're going to do to make the country or town or state that you live in a better place. I want to fix the roads. I want to fix the utilities. I want to fix the schools. I want to hear. And not just hear. I don't want empty promises. Then I want to see you physically do the things you claim you're going to do. Whenever we became a nation that political campaign season was about who can make the most gut-wrenching video, slamming their opponent, we became a lost people. My stomach turns when I see some of the ads out there. And this season's actually been better. The town council ads I've seen were actually promoting their ideology and not slamming the campaign of the other person. You shouldn't. The moment you have to throw a stone at your opponent, it's just showing you're weak. People lash out and attack people when they're fearful, when they're afraid, When I see a campaign that attacks the other opponent, I see you as a weak person who's backed into a corner lashing out. Your opponent shouldn't even exist to you. You shouldn't even see him. You should be so stuck on yourself and espousing such self-love for what you're going to do that lashing out that should be a laughing. You should get a joke from them trying to do it to you, because that shows they're afraid of you. You show yourself as weak, wounded, and afraid when you lash out. So this is a perfect example of how eroding labels, Republican, Democrat, do you think that's a real thing? Because it's a bunch of crap. Our vote should be on what the person brings to the table. It doesn't matter what the fuck they call themselves. That's one of the stupidest divide and conquer tactics I've ever seen perpetrated. It goes back and forth every day. Oh, you gotta give one to the Democrat. Oh, you gotta give one to the Republicans. It's stupid. These people should be telling us what they want to do to make the place better and how to make things work better than they currently do. This is like the economy. When they say we're in a recession, that just means it could be the same as it was last year. There's just been no growth. These people have a mentality of there's got to be constant growth in the economics, where it should be not on the economics where there's constant growth. Well, it's good to have growth, but sometimes it might be semi-unrealistic to expect massive monumental shifts when the economy is already doing good, yet we call it a recession now. But as far as the general running of the country, that's where that policy should exist, of constantly striving to make it better than it was before, better than it was yesterday. Roads start slab, we work on the roads. These are the things that we should always try to grow. We should always be having new roads projects, new bridge projects, new utility projects, things that make our lives better for our children, for ourselves. Well, these people have the mentality they don't care about their children. They don't care how this place is in 40 years. All they care about is what they get now and fuck everybody else. Now, I'm going off topic of the point of how labels are used to draw division and how we often play into them as natural when they're far from it. We'll say, I'm gay, I'm straight, I'm Republican, I'm Democrat, whatever. You can identify with anything. The principle is you don't need to. These can be likes that you have, but the moment you strap yourself to it, you divide yourself from everybody else. And no one should care. You think I care what you call yourself? No. I have a different mentality. I don't give a fuck. You're a human being. I find it trivial when people strap themselves to what they think. Often you're just seeking attention. You want somebody to notice you or to give you attention for doing this thing. You're a human fucking being. It's cool to enjoy and have likes, but the moment it becomes attention seeking or divide and conquer, we need to evolve from that platform to where I am a human being. I am a human being. That mantra is the simplest mantra and it solves everything. It's really as simple as dissolving the labels that we identify with and then changing the identification to I am a human being, and all of the fucking strife in this world disappears instantaneously, because it's the strife that's caused through individual identification with labels that causes all the conflict, pain, and heartache, as well as the separation and division complex that we collectively have on our psyche. It's been ingrained over decades and generations, but it needs to be eroded so that you can collectively come together as human beings and treat each other with equality. The moment you say that you're this or you're that, the other person becomes an enemy that you will automatically want to fight against. It gives you an instant reason to do great injustices to a person because you think they're somehow different than you because of some foolish form of thought, which is a completely bullshit thing in a bullshit system used to keep us fighting amongst each other so nothing gets done. Nothing. Because you're too busy fighting with yourselves, watching fucking bullshit infotainment. The amount of the population that is, I watch TV. That's God's easiest way to connect with the creation and to see what you're all doing, because that's where I restore my faith in humanity. But I watch people. I don't watch cable much anymore. I watch occasionally the cooking channel or something, but it accounts very small percentage of my actual viewing time. Most of it's spent on YouTube watching real people so that I can be inspired by their works of art in things of this nature, culture. It can restore your vision in humanity when you see the potential that the human psyche and mind has when it's applied correctly, and when we separate ourselves from labels and misidentification with separation. Because labeling yourself is the footprint. It's the first step to separation from humanity. And from separation from humanity, all the acts of injustice, cruelty, hate, and every other form of nasty behavior takes birth. The moment we label ourselves and choose to be separate from everyone else through our label of what we think we are, we separate ourselves from the whole, and chaos ensues. Dissolve your labels, gay, straight, bi, Republican, Democrat, and say, I am a human being. And then let's collectively figure out that once we dissolve the label system, we can decide to feed everyone on the planet because, well, we're all human, aren't we? And we all should eat food. That would be a good starting place. I mean, if we just say we can feed everyone, how is it that in 2020 we can't just agree that everyone should go to sleep with a full stomach? Pretty commonplace, but it's through our identification of separation, labeling, that things like that take a back seat because we're too busy fighting about Republican, Democrat, gay, straight, up, down, left, right. From that place does all that come, and everything like world hunger, the roads being fixed, takes a back seat because it's more important to fight about what bigger pile of shit is getting elected into political office, or whatever other stupid thing. What celebrity got caught in the bag coming out of a nightclub doing whatever? Like that's what occupies a lot of people's time. Pretty foolish. I mean, you act like you people haven't lived a life. I mean, it's a pretty big one. Lived a life, you know. Anyway, dissolve your labels and accept that you're a human and watch life transform.